How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Night Games by R.L. Stine. This is, I believe, the 40th book in the Fear Street series, and originally came out in 1996. I've been having a good time with these Fear Street books lately. This is, I believe, the 5th one overall that I read, and that is largely thanks to these new Simon Pulse printings. I really am glad they are getting these re-releases, and this is a pretty fun cover with the house with the pranks and stuff. I do want to say I did notice a tiny clue hidden into this cover that reveals something about the story's end. Nice. I always gotta love tiny details. Anyway, I do also want to say that this was recommended in the comments section on one of my other Fear Street videos. Someone said it was one of their favorites, so I of course wanted to check it out a little early. Now that being said, a ton of the other Fear Street books are a little bit hard to find, but if you guys have any recommendations among the modern reprints, I can get any of those pretty quick, and I've covered about half of them. But if you guys have any favorite Fear Street recommendations, I'd definitely be interested in taking a look. And overall, I can see why this book got a new reprinting. It's an interesting idea. It's got characters that are a little bit gruffer. They're not quite, goody two-shoes that we're used to seeing in a lot of young adult novels. And also we got this really interesting villain character that is an evil teacher. More on him in a bit. But I also like that towards the end of this book, it has a way of escalating the stakes, like, oh, that's bad. Oh, wait, something worse happened. And then in about the final 10 or so pages, the book goes absolutely crazy, which is great. And I would be curious to see what you guys' opinions are of the end of this book, because, yeah, like I said, it does really swing for the fences right there at the end, and I thought it was pretty fun. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the plot. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to do a little bit of analysis, talk about a few of the plot points, and also make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what the story's about. But I won't go too far in, and I won't spoil any of the big twist. Anyway, we open up with 4 kids. Diane, our point of view character, the book is mainly wrote in the first person, her boyfriend Lenny, and we also get her best friend Cassie and her boyfriend Jordan. And the 4 people have just come from a dance club, and they say dance club because, yeah, it's a kid's book. There wasn't anything else, no alcohol or anything, even though I think the club's name is something like Red Heat. Yeah, Red Heat, that's, yeah, crazy club name there, totally just for dancing. But anyway, they're upset because they have an abusive teacher, and they're surprised when they walk past his house going home at night that this abusive teacher, Mr. Crowell, has put up a garish display of Christmas decorations. A whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of lights, practically blinding. And yeah, this is kind of a Christmas book. It takes place right before winter break for these characters, and Christmas does come up a few times, but don't expect, too much in-your-face Christmas stuff. Although that being said, they did do Silent Night, was like a Fear Street series. I've heard really good stuff about that. I hope the Silent Night books get a reprint soon. Those look really fun. But anyway, after they see that display, they walk past this older, creepier looking house, and someone comes out the window, and it turns out it's their old friend Spencer. And Spencer, they haven't seen him for about a year. He was a friend, but then he kind of drifted away, and he has this whole thing saying, oh yeah, we had to move because my grandma got sick, and now we're coming back to Shady Side. And he's changed. He is thinner, he's gruffer, and a little bit more dangerous now, when he used to be kind of the sweeter, nerdy guy. So now he's different, and they say, well, what are you doing coming out of a window? Are you some sort of thief? And he goes, no, this is my new house. I'm sneaking out to play night games. And he says that at night, there's no authority. There's a lot less people. You can go out and do whatever you want. The world is yours. And yeah, that's a really interesting concept. I've been out at night a few times, you know, working late or something, and it's so weird to see the outside world at night. Everywhere, just literally the same place it is in the daytime, but it's abandoned and creepy, and it feels so otherworldly, you know, liminal spaces and whatnot. But yeah, the cool night world. And they tag along. He says he just kind of goes out to do whatever and has random adventures. And the first night, they find a couple making out in the car, and they decide, Spencer decides to go and pretend to be the police and give them a good scare, and then they all run away. So it's harmless pranks, random little adventures, fun stuff like that. But of course, back at school, Mr. Crowell is continuing to be abusive verbally to his students. Any little thing is going to lead to an explosion from him, massive amounts of arguing and yelling, which I do like how Stine talks about this villainous teacher. And I do want to say, good teachers are super important, and good teachers can really have a meaningful impact onto someone's life. But we don't talk about bad teachers too much, and bad teachers can really be a problem. Take, for example, Lenny. Lenny, Diane's boyfriend, who everyone says is kind of a bad seed, but Diane insists that there's good in him and he's just really misunderstood. He's a kid that's a little bit on the edge. He needs to be nurtured, and instead of nurturing him, Mr. Crowell is pushing him off the edge. Yeah, a bad teacher can have a really bad impact in a kid's life, and this guy really needs to get out of there, and it's a bad situation. Luckily for me, I never had a teacher this bad, but that being said, sometimes, especially, you know, in young adult media, they try to portray all teachers as saints, but I definitely had, you know, more for me, it was strict authority, you know, and I didn't go to a bad school or anything, and I wasn't a bad kid or anything, but so much of school was handing out this busy work and being told if you messed even one little thing up, you'd be absolutely screwed in your whole academic career, and it was a very much fear the system oppressive environment. And yeah, man, good teachers are good. Bad teachers are bad, to say the least. But anyway, Mr. Crowell eventually will get Lenny kicked off the basketball team for his grades, and they decide, let's focus on Mr. Crowell for the upcoming night games. And they go and they do a series of pranks that will continue to escalate, and they will eventually see that he's not home one day and decide, let's break into his house and commit some vandalism there. So we're stepping up a notch farther than we should, and it's this really creepy idea, going into someone's house when they're not there. You can't turn on the lights because you don't want to alert the neighbors, stumbling around in the dark, finding out what this person's up to, and knowing they could get back home at any minute. There's also this thing with Crowell that I really do like, where there's things that don't quite make sense about him. For example, the garish Christmas decorations, but they also find his shower curtain has cartoon characters on it, and his pajamas are neatly laid out on his bed. And at first I thought there was going to be some twist, like there's someone else at the house with him. Maybe he has a child or something. But no, it's just him alone. And I begin to suspect, I kind of wonder, what if Mr. Crowell was himself a victim of authority abuse, probably a mother or something. He clings to childish things that make him happy, the garish decorations in the cartoons, and he follows strict rules, having his pajamas laid out and expecting all of his students to follow all of his rules 100% of the way. He probably had strict authority, and now he himself, even though he's grown up and has a job, he doesn't have a family of himself because probably someone else in authority kept him in a state of arrested development. But that being said, it's just hinted at and never really fully explained, so it is kind of an interesting idea there. But anyway, after the pranks, after sneaking in, things will eventually escalate. And they do have a scene where they try to make peace with Mr. Crowell. Diane stands outside, Lenny goes in, dressed nice, attempting to make peace, and almost instantly it turns into a shouting match. Props on them for trying, though, but yeah, sometimes when you've fallen out of someone's good graces, it is impossible to get back in. So everything will escalate until eventually it does go too far. And we also get, the book takes place in this winter, but there are a few sections that take place last winter, and it's only, I believe, 2 of them, but they actually jump where the this winter sections are from Diane's point of view, first person, and then the last winter sections are from a third person point of view, so that's already a little jarring to pop out of your main character. But it tells this story that reveals a sort of dark secret behind the group, and I really, you get to the end of this, and you start to go, okay, something really bad happened, and then of course we go into the present, and yeah, something even, another terrible thing happens in the present, all leading to that 10 or so pages at the end where it goes absolutely nuts. There is a subplot where they're getting threatening notes, someone knows about the night games, and that does help hint of the dangers to come before things actually get dangerous. And there's this whole thing where Diane suspects her ex-boyfriend, and it's a fine little addition to hint at the danger early on, but that being said, and not much in regards to what is actually going on here. It's so much bigger and crazier than that I don't know, that part could have been left out, but whatever. Overall, I really do like this book. It's got rougher characters than you normally see. It's got that cool night world concept behind it. And it does have that evil teacher villain with the idea that things get pushed farther than they should, and the scale and build-up in this book until we get to the absolute craziness of that ending. It is pretty cool. So overall, a really good Fear Street book. This is actually the first of the reprints I saw on the store shelf. I snatched it up and then looked for a few others, and so yeah, this was on the first round of reprints that I bought, and I'm almost finished reading through all the ones that I have. I need to go back to Barnes & Noble and get more of them. I mean, so far I've really enjoyed these, and I am looking forward to reading more. But anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my R.L. Stine playlist. I have reviews for the Fear Street movies, Goosebumps Night of the Living Dummy, and as far as the Fear Street books, Secret Admirer, New Girl, Runaway, and The Surprise Party. And I'm definitely looking forward to reading more of these. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. R.L. Stine playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.